What's up and welcome to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 128. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason. I'm joined as always by your other co-host, who is calling himself today. Let's see here, Travis. What are you? Who are you today? It won't tell me. It just tells me you're connected to Zencaster. You're Tom Ho. That's what I can see.
Oh, that's not what it says.
What does it say?
Tom Howard.
Tom Howard. Okay. What is a Tom Howard?
He runs Xbox, right?
Oh, that's Phil Spencer.
Oh.
who's Tom Howard? Oh,
I don't know.
Wait a second. You mean Todd Howard, the guy who runs Bethesda?
Yeah, that's it.
This is brilliant. Oh, this is brilliant.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
So you figured it out.
Wow. Yeah. So we got Phil Spector, not Phil Spencer, Phil Spector, as you say, and then we have Tom Howard, of course, the guy who runs Xbox. This is so good. Ooh. And yeah. So what's going on tonight, Travis?
We talked the other day about how the Heartlands has just it's not in the ether anymore. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they announce like Elder Scrolls 6 and then completely fuck off?
Oh yeah.
Like what happened? What happened with that? I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, so they say that's coming after Starfield, which is the game that's coming out. Actually, it was supposed to come out this November, but now it's coming out, I guess, sometime next year in 2023. So then Elder Scrolls will be out after that. So like 5 years after. So we're going to get Elder Scrolls in like 2027, 2028, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that explains it.
They announced it like 10 years before it was ever coming out, which was, it's just stupid as hell.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I don't have anything to say really. I've been writing an article for Gaming Nexus. I'm trying to catalog all of the 2023 releases, both confirmed and rumored for PlayStation for next year, trying to take a stab at what their release schedule looks like. It's taking me a little bit. I feel like I'm going to end up having written about 2,000 words about it when it's all said and done. So we're actually going to talk about the release schedule or things that pertain to the release schedule quite a bit here this episode. We have it's a low-key busy news week in a weird way, just in terms of some smaller news that slipped out. So
what is 2,000 words a lot?
I think so. For an article, for an internet story, as it were.
I mean, I
think
don't know. It's
2,000
like, it's like I know what miles per gallon is good and bad, but I've never. The teacher would be like, write a 500 word essay. I'd be like, is that a lot? I don't know.
Yeah. I can write 500 pretty easy. 500 is like a page. I think 500 is about a page. So I'll have written about 4 pages probably, if not more. I feel like. Anyway, Travis, we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together and discuss all of the week's PlayStation news, rumors, new game releases, and much more. We do it all in under 90 minutes, and we post new episodes on all of the usual podcast services around the world, as well as the YouTube, where we also share gameplay videos, which we are considering recording a gameplay video tonight, which we'll talk about later. And you can find the episodes there on YouTube as well every Monday. We're also on social media, of course. Our primary feed is Twitter, where we go by @theDualSensePod. But you can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and we also have a blog, which is theDualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. You can get the episodes there, as well as the show notes and our photos and bios, if you please. So please find us and chat PlayStation with us. And we've been pretty active on Twitter lately in terms of people reaching out to us. So I very much appreciate that. And so without further ado here, let's jump into a pretty good episode this week. Pretty good one. We got a lot of stuff to cover here, starting with number 1. After what has been a mostly quiet second half of the year for PlayStation, devoid of any major showcase as has been typical in recent years, we have been left to mostly wonder what PlayStation's 2023 release schedule will look like. Outside of a few early year keystones like PlayStation VR 2 and Forspoken, all we really know is that Spider-Man 2 was previously scheduled for a vague 2023 release. We still don't have a release date for the game, But this week, developer Insomniac Games narrowed the release window down a bit further, announcing that the highly anticipated sequel to the 2018 blockbuster PS4 title will be launching in the fall of next year. Okay, so we have some further clarification that we're getting the Spider-Man sequel in the fall. Does that mean anything to you? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, did you have to take a dig at Blockbuster there? It's the only way that, Blockbuster can stay relevant in gaming. We have to throw it in.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
now the Netflix show's canceled after one season. So what are you gonna do?
that's funny too. I guess. I mean, look, we don't really know much about what else is exactly coming, and when they give us dates like this, it's a vague release. I
Mm,
kind of everything gets delayed so much now, it's kind of hard to imagine
yeah.
when we'll get it. Yeah, I almost feel like that it's a placeholder, and then they gave us that just to kind of almost like it's fodder, right? It's just like not even
Hmm.
a red herring, but something like that, just something to give us more than Forspoken and VR. I mean, I think VR will be received well and do pretty well, but I've been a little skeptical of Forspoken, so they really need something to swing with next year. And they had God of War this year, and kind of feel like it has to be Spider Man, but I just don't trust these dates anymore. For that we get, I just don't trust them at all. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually falls there, or will it fall back to 2024, and all we'll have next year is the VR. Like, that's not out of the realm.
Yeah. I think that Spider-Man 2 is a safe bet for 2023. Like we've talked about on the show before, Insomniac is, in my opinion, like one of the surefire bets in terms of PlayStation Studios, someone you can count on. I think a fall release makes sense. It'll be the big release from PlayStation, probably the last one of the year, like as far as really big, like single player releases. And I'm gonna guess September. The original first game came out in September of 18, so basically 5 years on the dot from the first one. I think that makes a lot of sense. And September is a good time typically to release games. You get out ahead of the bigger games in the well. There's not going to be a Call of Duty this year, so there's that to keep in mind as well. But September stands out to me. That seems like a pretty good time to do that. And without a doubt, whenever it does release, it's going to be. I mean, it might be the best selling game of the year, regardless of what Starfield and I think Nintendo's releasing a Zelda game, so those would be like the top three, in my opinion, games in terms of like sales for the year. So I think they'll battle it out. But I think Spider Man obviously is a big IP, big draw, and it would surprise me if by the end of 2023 they haven't sold like 15 million copies already. From the time it releases till the end of 2023, I think somewhere between 15 and 20 million is not out of the realm of possibility. So it's exciting that we got somewhat of an update, like not a release date, but a better idea of when it's coming out. But it's starting to get weird in the sense that we don't have a release date for a PlayStation first party game other than Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2. That's pretty unprecedented for where we're at in terms of we're at the end of 2022 and we have no idea essentially what is coming in 2023 outside of Spider-Man and Call of the Mountain, at least concretely. So just looking at the list here, so this article that I'm working on, here are the confirmed games that we have coming from PlayStation, either first party or like an exclusive from that they've signed from another developer. So Forspoken, obviously in January, that they're not making that. That's Square Enix. That Season Letter to the Future game, Horizon Call of the Mountain, mentioned that. The Dark Pictures Switchback VR, they're just publishing. The Light Brigade, that's for VR. They're just publishing. Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores, which is a DLC. So I forgot about that. So that's the second thing. So we have, what is that? We have Call of the Mountain and Horizon with firm dates, and then we have Spider Man, which we know is coming, but we don't have a firm date. So I mean, I guess things are starting to take shape, but I just feel like I don't know. In a way, I feel like you can't count Call of the Mountain yet because it's a VR title. You know what I mean? Like it's a big game, but it's like it's not a big game for everyone. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just still feel like we're in a weird spot from from a standpoint of like what games are we getting in 2023. But glad for the Spider-Man news at the very least. Number two, Horizon developer Guerrilla Games officially confirmed this week that they are indeed working on a new multiplayer game set in the Horizon universe. It will feature both a new cast of characters and a new art style. They also seemingly confirmed that Horizon proper will go on past Forbidden West. An announcement of new job postings related to the project from the studio's Life at Guerrilla Twitter handle reads, quote, "We are continuing to create epic solo adventures for Aloy, but there is more. A new internal team is developing a separate online project set in Horizon's universe, featuring a new cast of characters and a unique stylized look. Friends will be able to explore the majestic wilds of Horizon together." End quote. Okay, so does a multiplayer Horizon game pique your interest at all?
Maybe the stylized look I think is interesting. I wonder if this is way
Hmm.
too soon to jump in, but I was gonna say I wonder if the Need for Speed stylization is gonna catch on, but maybe that's a little too
Yeah,
too soon for that. But
that's a dope look.
yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not surprised they're gonna continue the proper franchise. That's seemed like that was a given. Not sure why they would stop doing that at this point. But
Hmm.
as far as the multiplayer goes, I mean, you're exploring Horizon is what it says, so that you kind of assume it's open world. But what does it look
Hmm.
like? You know what I mean? Is it going to be open world PvPv? What is the other one where you play against the computer? So
Oh, PVE.
yeah, that like what is it going to be like? You know, are there going to be
Mm,
bands of squads of other people? Is it just PvE? Is it it doesn't seem like it's going to be like Legends on Ghost of Tsushima. It seems like it's going to be pretty
right.
you know, open. So, what does that look like? What does that sound like? Who knows? But it seems a little bit interesting. I mean,
I feel like it's going to be something like co-op, like you squad up with friends
like Call of
and you
Duty.
go and fight. No, like you squad up with friends and you go and fight, the robot dinosaurs. It's like Monster Hunter, but in Horizon.
Oh, Monster Hunter Horizon. See, I was thinking it'd be more like Destiny, where
No, I feel like it's going to be like a Monster Hunter
okay,
style
well that'd be
game
interesting.
where you like get two or three friends together or whatever, and you go fight the big T-Rex
Yeah,
robot dinosaur
but
thing. Like,
would you rather it be where you could create your own character or use characters that they're gonna
yes.
create? Like, I think making my own Horizon character would be kind of cool.
Yes, I think yeah, absolutely. They have to have the ability to create your own character. I think that's the way to go. That'd be dope. And I actually I actually like your idea of maybe like maybe aping that Need for Speed Unbound art style, because the conversation about Forbidden West is like how pretty the world is graphically. So maybe you just take that world and then you take the cell, bring the cell shaded characters in like Unbound, and that's you create your character that looks like that, and then you play in the realistic, photorealistic world. Like that
Hmm.
sounds pretty dope, honestly. And then you could even have the robots be that same art style as well. I think that would be really cool. And if this is not a Monster Hunter style game, I'll be shocked. First of all, and second of all, it's like that's like the biggest softball ever. Like that's the easiest concept that they can flesh out and execute, and it'll be a hit, in my opinion. Like they don't have to try hard, they don't have to get cute with it. Like just make Monster Hunter or Destiny. You said Destiny, Monster Hunter Horizon, and it's a win. It's a win. We'll see. But that was a rumor for a while. It's now been confirmed. Oh, but yeah. Before we move on, there's based on how the second game ended, definitely wasn't a surprise that there'd be a third game. I don't think. At the very least, there will be a trilogy, but it'll be interesting to see how far they go with it, because there is a Netflix show on the way, and you would think that you have to keep, a story pipeline going in a way, but maybe you could do that without games. I don't know. So we'll see. Number three, notable insider viewer Anon, I have no idea, who typically shares film related leaks, has claimed that PlayStation developer Naughty Dog is currently in production on The Last of Us Part 3. He goes a step further and says that, according to his sources, none other than studio co president Neil Druckmann is hard at work leading development on the project. Viewer Anon says that it is the studio's next major game following the upcoming The Last of Us multiplayer game. He also, quote unquote, confirmed that a different studio is indeed working on the Uncharted franchise, confirmed in quotes, I should say, What he didn't address is the rumored third project that Naughty Dog is rumored to be working on that is based on an entirely new IP that some are wondering if it is a fantasy IP like Skyrim or something like that. So, what do you think about The Last of Us Part 3? Does that move the needle for you?
It feels like too much Last of Us in a row with 2,
Mm,
a remake of 1, a multiplayer game, and then
mm,
3. Like, I just he says this is their next big release. I really think the next big release is gonna be the one that we don't know what it is. I really think it's gonna be the 3rd project that everybody talks about. I just don't think it could be The Last of Us. I really don't think it could be another one. That's
yeah.
gonna take years to develop, and I just don't think there's gonna be a gap that big to follow up with the same game. Like, that just doesn't seem likely to me. Even maybe hell, maybe the Uncharted one comes first. Maybe they're just storyboarding. I mean, I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I think they need to rest it. I think they need to give The Last of Us a rest after the multiplayer game. I think that if they truly are going to go, like you said, The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us multiplayer, The Last of Us Part 3, like you risk some
Mhm.
pretty serious
With
burnout
the TV
there.
show.
Right. And maybe they're pressured. That's a good point too. Maybe there's some pressure there with the television show, which is going to be a hit. It's going to be big. It's going to be a big show for HBO. And maybe there's some pressure there to like, hey, we need to while the show is hot, it takes years to make these games anyway. If we step back and make this fantasy game and then we don't get around to making The Last of Us Part 3 for 8 years, whatever, however long, then, the show is going to be over by then and we've missed our window sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they're thinking they want to keep that synergy, while they can because the show will take whatever 12 to 18 months to make a season of television. It'll take a game, 3 times that, if not more. So maybe that's why. That's a good point. Maybe they feel pressured. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with more Last of Us, even a multiplayer and a part 3. Like that's fine with me. I'll take it. But I do at the same time, you would do want to see Naughty Dog in a way stretch their legs and do something new and do something different because you don't want them to just be the Last of Us studio. Kind of like we've talked about, we don't want Insomniac to just be the Marvel studio. Like they make Spider-Man, they make Wolverine. Like you don't want to pigeonhole these teams into just doing those things. And then you also don't want to, fatigue your IP. I mean, look at like Gears of War on Xbox. Like they've fatigued that thing to death. And we're borderline there with Horizon with all the stuff that's coming. And we'll be borderline there with The Last of Us by the time we get all this stuff as well, is my fear. So we'll see. Number 4, Amazon officially greenlit a God of War television series this week. This is such a weird week. Like all of the marquee PlayStation franchises had a little bit of news come out this week, and it's weird. It's really weird. So anyway, they greenlit the God of War television series. It's going to be led by the Wheel of Time showrunner Rafe Judkins, as well as the Expanse creators Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby. Those cannot be their real names. The series will pick up where the 2018 video game reboot starts off, and the show's official description reads like this quote, when his beloved wife dies, Kratos sets off on a dangerous journey with his estranged son to spread her ashes from the highest peak, his wife's final wish. Kratos soon realizes the journey is an epic quest in disguise, one which will test the bonds between father and son and force Kratos to battle new gods and monsters for the fate of the world. End quote. Okay, so it had been in planning, rumored, whatever, but now it's officially been ordered to series. What do you think about a God of War show?
Imagine getting something to do from your wife, and it's not that simple, right? It's never is. Everything's a quest, and
True.
it's a
True
quest.
that.
It's a quest to get through Target. Anyway,
Amen.
so yeah, I know that I've read something about a Gears of War TV show too. So
Yeah.
it seems like this is a thing now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, I think maybe I'll just watch the show and never play the games, and then talk about how great the show is,
Yeah, of course.
and then just to annoy everybody.
Yeah, that's on brand for you.
So it is. So like I could probably watch the Fallout series and do great.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean I think it'll be cool. I want to see who's in it. Obviously, good thing they have 2 games to go off of, so that'll give them a couple seasons. I mean, like realistically, is the game story 1 season?
I don't know. I mean, I would want to say yes, but I really don't think so. I think they milk it. I think they get at least a couple of seasons, if not more,
Mhm.
out of one game. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so if you get, like, 2
Because they can
seasons out of the
stretch it
game,
out.
yeah, and then they could do Ragnarok as the
Mhm.
season 3 and 4 and then never make another TV show, so, like, it kinda works out
Right.
anyway. So, I don't know, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be cool.
I'm excited about it. I think it's got some good people behind it. The Expanse is wonderful. So the fact that those guys are there, that has me very encouraged. I don't know what a Rafe Judkins is. I don't know what a
Mhm.
Will of Time is. So that's whatever to me. But the Expanse guys being there is a big deal, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll definitely check this out. If they're just now announcing it, they might get their people in order. They might start filming next year. So we won't see this till 2024, I would say. But back to the point about how many seasons are they going to get out of this and games. I think what we're seeing with The Last of Us, for instance, now that we know what characters that are cast and are going to be there, what it sounds like to me is that they're going to basically take the video games. Well, using The Last of Us as an example, they're going to take the first game and they're going to stretch it out in a way where they flesh out more of the characters, they flesh out more of the backstories, they create more backstory for the characters, and whereas in the game you might cross paths with somebody just momentarily, I think in the show they're going to be like a full episode or like 2 episodes. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're going to stretch things out that way with not just The Last of Us, but all of these shows, and that's probably how they can make whatever 4 or 5 seasons of television out of maybe 2 games, maybe 3. So number 5, film industry website Deadline reported that game developer Kojima Productions and film production company Hammerstone Studios have partnered together to produce a film based on the Death Stranding IP. The project will be led by Hideo Kojima in collaboration with Barbarian executive producer Alex Lebovici. No idea how to say that guy's name. The plot for the film is said to be under wraps at the moment, but Deadline reports that it will introduce new elements and characters to the Death Stranding universe. No announcements have been made regarding any writers, directors, or cast members at this time, but creator Hideo Kojima will finally get his chance at developing a feature film. Despite PlayStation owning the Death Stranding IP, they curiously do not appear to have any involvement in the project at this time. Any thoughts on this? It's just movies and television shows everywhere.
From what I've seen about Death Stranding, it almost makes more sense to me as a movie than as a game,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. I think the interesting thing
Hmm.
is PlayStation isn't tied to it, even though they own the IP. So I thought it was weird that the plot is under wraps. It's like, why would you just not follow the story arc, right? But if
Uh,
PlayStation owns the IP, maybe they had to change some stuff on the story to kind of avoid
hmm.
any conflict there. So that could explain that. But
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know what Hammerstone Studios does. Like, I feel like if you're Kojima, you're not just gonna develop a feature film with a bunch of jabronis. Like, you're gonna have a pretty decent film studio. So I hope that or maybe he just wants complete creative control. It just seems like he would. I don't know. I just feel like he'd be tied to somebody bigger than that for this. But hey,
Right.
I mean, good for him. But like I said, I think this training always felt like more of a movie to me than a game. So I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think you make a couple of good points, and I definitely think that like, if you would have told me the concept for Death Stranding, right, and you said, okay, we can make it a video game or we can make it a film, like, I would 100% have like, all right, yeah, just make it a movie. Like, this sounds like way too fucking much, way too over the top for a video game. So, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think it's very intriguing as a film, as a series of films. You want to talk about a game that you could stretch out over a trilogy of movies? No doubt it could be Death Stranding. That is one of the longest games I've ever played in terms of just the story, just, kind of being drawn out. But I'm here for a Death Stranding movie. I think that sounds awesome, to be honest with you. And I actually think that, and I know nothing about this producer guy. I don't know what Barbarian is. I mean, I know what it is generally, but I've never watched it. And this producer seems like an indie producer, like he does indie movies, you know what I'm saying? So because I think Barbarian only made like $45 million. And I actually think somebody like that who's like an indie director, indie producer, who makes these small, like weird movies, I think that screams Hideo Kojima. I think that's perfect for him. And if he can make a movie with someone like that who just makes this weird, like really existential shit, I think that's right up his alley. So that part I actually get, as opposed to, making a movie with like Jerry Bruckheimer or fucking James Cameron or something like that. Like I totally get that. So I don't know. We'll see. This is the other thing is that, you know, I, if the movie is not any good, what does that mean for Kojima? Is he going to keep trying to do this, or is he just going to go back to making games? I mean, he's still making games, but you know what I'm saying, like just full time making games. So we'll see. But I do find it weird that PlayStation, at least at this point, is not involved on this project in any way. Number 6, another week, another Activision update, of course. And while I am tired of talking about it, I moved it all the way down to number 6 this week. I don't know what else I can do, but it's big news. It's important, and we have to talk about it. So this time, Travis, Bloomberg reported that Microsoft has offered Sony the rights to put Call of Duty on its PlayStation Plus subscription service in an effort to appease the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. This concession is in addition to the previous offer to sign a 10-year agreement to continue bringing the monolithic franchise to PlayStation, a similar agreement it recently reached with Nintendo. Elsewhere, Xbox chief Phil Spencer, your boy Phil Spector, told the Second Request podcast that Sony, in fact, wants to stifle competition by handcuffing Xbox and their distribution model. He said, quote, Sony is trying to protect its dominance on the console. The way they grow is by making Xbox smaller. Sony has a very different view of the industry than we do. They don't ship their games day and date on PC. They do not put their games into their subscription when they launch their games. End quote. Okay. Any thoughts on Phil's latest?
Yeah, I don't understand why does he think that the way it's worded is almost like, well, they do it a different way. It's annoying and I hate it. It's like, well, they don't have to do it the way you do it.
Yeah.
Like, who
Yeah.
gives a shit? Like, it's if you work for the same company, then yeah, you should do it the same way, but you don't. So
Right.
whatever. And yeah, and to the point, he kind of contradicts himself again because he's like, yeah, well, to appease the FTC, we said, hey, they can, it's a 10-year contract and they can put it on their subscription service. Then he turns around and says they don't put their launch games on the subscription service. Like he knows they won't put
Yeah.
it on there. So it's a stupid, empty, hollow thing.
Hmm.
Like if you read most of the comments and all the interviews that Xbox is doing all of these paid interviews, like I know it's called the Second Request podcast, but I bet they took him on the first request. Like all of these interviews they do, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, whatever the fuck it was, like they paid for that shit. And it's all glossed over and tries to make them look nice. It's just a bunch of self-aggrandizing bullshit about Xbox,
Mm.
and like they just contradict themselves left and right. And not saying Sony doesn't, but like at least
Sure.
they're not. I don't know. It's just annoying. It's just like there's certain types of people in the world that annoy me, and they all seem to work at Microsoft.
I think the biggest problem, I think you're there, is that my Xbox is being so much more public about it, and publicly whiny about it. Like the stuff we hear about PlayStation is all from a document that they wrote to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, but on the other hand, Phil is going out and doing these interviews with people. So
Right. Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. It's like, if you want to handle your stuff, it's fine. But like, and if you want to criticize somebody, criticize them. But it's like,
mhm,
it's like they're just pussyfooting around. Like they want to bitch and moan,
yeah,
and oh well, we gave them this and they didn't want to take it, and they're just the worst. It's like, yeah, but everything you gave them isn't useful to them.
right. Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't mean, what's the point of giving Nintendo a 10-year contract anyway? They haven't even updated their fucking console. Like the Switch can't even handle the Fortnite update.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, look at the side by side screenshots of how those games look on the new Xbox and the new PlayStation. There's not even
Mhm.
details on the ground. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah, also that's another good point. Also, the thing about Nintendo that you kind of touched on there too is Nintendo doesn't give a fuck about Call of Duty. Like if they this is how I imagine that happened, okay? Some Phil Spencer calls up whoever the fuck runs Nintendo now and was like, "Hey, we're doing this thing with Activision. We would love to bring Call of Duty to Switch for 10 years cuz we've offered it to PlayStation, what do you think about that?" And Nintendo is probably like, I mean, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, you
What are
mean
you
we
paying
don't
us?
like we don't have to do dick, and you're gonna give us Call of Duty for 10 years, and we're gonna make millions of dollars off of it. Okay. Like, literally, like, Nintendo doesn't care. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just passive money to them. Like, they don't care if they have it or not, is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yes, passive income.
yeah, so they haven't had it. You know, they haven't had a Call of Duty game since Wii, I think. Since, like, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I think, was the last game on a Nintendo
Can you
system.
imagine?
Yeah, so they don't care. They have we understand that Nintendo doesn't care. So using them as a, well, hey, we gave it to Nintendo and PlayStation told us to fuck off. Like, that's not apples to apples. And we've talked about this before. That this continues to be a case of apples to oranges a lot of the time, at best, and it's annoying. And
Mhm.
like you said, you hit the nail on the head. They're offering stuff that's no good to PlayStation. I mean, the 10 years on the console, yes. Obviously, PlayStation will take at the very least, if that's the best they can get, then yeah, PlayStation will take a 10-year extension and have the game on the console for whatever 12 or 13 more years. They'll take it and make, hundreds of millions of dollars. Sure, they'll do that. And then they'll hopefully spend the next 13 years developing a first person shooter of their own, but who knows? But on the flip side of that, yeah, like you said, they don't want to put games day and date on PlayStation Plus. They've said as much. Shuhei Yoshida has said as much in interviews. So giving that to PlayStation as part of the offer does two things. First of all, it does nothing for PlayStation. And secondarily, all that does is force PlayStation to operate like Xbox wants to operate, also to your point. Because, like you said, they know PlayStation doesn't want to operate that way. But if they can force them to do that by saying, hey, here's Call of Duty, and yeah, go ahead and put it in PlayStation Plus. They they fucking got them. They've got them. They've got them backed into the corner where right where they want them. They want to compete on Game Pass, and they can't do it, or on Game Pass versus PlayStation Plus, and they can't do it because Xbox can just go buy all these games and put it on there, and PlayStation can't, or they don't want to. One of the two. But if you base it on, remember a while back we talked about that Ark Survival Evolved game? It came to PS4 on PlayStation Plus back in March, and Sony paid $4.5 million for that.
Mhm.
Like, they're going to pay $4.5 million for Ark Survival Evolved, and they're going to do that 3, 4, 5 times a month, depending on how many games they put on the service, and well, more than that now with extra and plus, or premium, I should say. So if you do the math, in the long story short, in other words, if you do the math, it doesn't work out for PlayStation the same way that it does for Xbox. And it really doesn't work out for Xbox. They're just able to eat it, basically. So I digress. Number 7. Sony announced the December lineup of games coming to the extra and premium tiers of PlayStation Plus this week. Speaking of, on extra, Travis, we're getting Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion. Okay. Ben 10 Power Trip, Evil Genius 2, Far Cry 5, Far Cry New Dawn, Far Cry Primal, Gigantosaurus the Game, Judgment, Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, Mortal Shell, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Ultimate Edition, The Escapist 2, Pedestrian, Worms, Weapons of Mass Destruction, WWE 2K22, Yakuza 6 The Song of Life, Yakuza Like a Dragon, also on extra. On premium, we're getting Heavenly Sword for PS3, so that's streaming only. We're also getting Oddworld Abe's Exodus, a PlayStation 1 game finally. Jesus Christ. And also Pinball Heroes from PlayStation Portable, as well as Ridge Racer 2 from PlayStation Portable. Okay. So what do you think about the lineup this month?
Yeah, not interested.
Oh.
If I had all the free time in the world, I'd play the Far Cries again.
Mhm.
I might play the Adventure Time game because I'm sure it's funny.
Hmm.
I mean, other than that, like, whatever. I mean, I've heard of Mortal Shell. I'm not gonna play the wrestling game.
That's good.
The pedestrian thing sounds familiar.
It's a puzzle game. It looks cool. It's like
Oh yeah, the
you walk
pedestrian. Yeah,
across street signs.
yeah. Like I would play that, but like
Hmm.
whatever. I mean, and it's cool. There's a PS1 game, but I've never heard of it. And Heavenly Sword, I vaguely remember hearing about
Yeah.
that, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. So whatever.
Hmm.
It doesn't do much for me. I mean, but that's par for the course with these games.
I'll tell you why you remember Heavenly Sword. It's because when we worked at Target, when PS3 was about to come out, and when it first came out, the Heavenly Sword demo was on PS3 retail demo units,
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
we would sit and watch that and Uncharted and
On a loop.
NBA two and NBA 2K demos on a loop. Yeah,
Yeah,
back at Target
right.
at the electronics counter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Heavenly Sword's cool. That's a game from Ninja Theory, which are the people who do Hellblade now. They are owned by Xbox, so that's interesting. But I just don't know about. I mean, I guess I could stream a PS3 game, whatever. But they've got to figure that out. But actually, it's a pretty good month in my opinion overall. I mean, I'm not going to play a lot of this stuff, but just objectively in terms
Oh,
of what's
yeah.
there,
Uh-huh, it's a great week. I'm not playing any of it.
I'm not gonna play any of this shit, but it's a good month, guys. Like, I mean, the Yakuza games, those are big. You know, six like a or not six, but like a dragon. And then the Far Cry games. What else? Judgment. That's a big one. That's another Yakuza game. I take that back. I think I am gonna check out Mortal Shell, even though it's like a Demon Souls game. I don't know. I'll see about it. And then Evil Genius 2 is like a tactical strategy game of some sort. So I'm kind of curious about that. We loved Far Cry 5. Me, you, and John played that cooperatively back in the day. Herc and all that with the big bear and shit. Far Cry New Dawn's actually is really good. I never finished it, but I played it a little bit on PS4. It's good. And anyway, yeah, pretty good month I think overall. And I can't believe we got a PS1 game, but still, like you said, not one of the bigger titles. Like we still haven't got like a really big PS1 title yet, which is disappointing. It is very disappointing. Number 8, we also have a bunch of news nuggets here, Travis. Feel free to jump in here. First nugget, PlayStation released the 2022 yearly wrap up this week. You can sign in at wrapup.playstation.com to view your annual gaming stats. I think mine, I had about 100 or what is it? No, 819 hours played, I think. And my
Uh-huh.
most,
That's
my most,
30, like 35 days.
is it really?
Yeah, something like that.
And my most played game was Battlefield 2042. So just so you all know, I'm putting my money where my mouth is when I tell you it's a good game. What was yours? Was what, Gran Turismo? You played like for
Gran
100
Turismo.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah, Gran Turismo. It's like 400 hours. Not on Gran
Hey,
Turismo, just overall.
well, I mean, at least people know you're putting your money where your mouth is too. We say
Yeah.
you're the racing, you're the sim racing guy, you're the Gran Turismo guy, and
So
there you are.
surprisingly, my 3rd biggest game was FIFA 22. I swear I didn't play it that much.
Mine was high up there. I think we did play that a lot.
I
I
just don't
think we did.
remember it. I don't even remember what was number 2. Number 2 might have been Battlefield.
Probably.
That
Yeah,
sounds right.
probably.
It was good. I
Yeah.
think next year Call of Duty will be on there for sure.
Hmm.
I mean, I just like looking at all those things, seeing how many trophies I got and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. It's just I'm glad they do that.
Yeah, it is cool. It's very cool.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of, on my Spotify wrap up, which I don't even really use Spotify,
Uh
but, it still gives me one every year, and I was in the top 4% of 21 Savage listeners in the world.
huh. Wait, you're the top 21% or the top 4%?
Top 4%.
Wouldn't that be serendipitous if you were the top 21% of 21 Savage listeners?
Yeah, I was
21,
really
21.
proud of that.
That's awesome. All right, next nugget. PlayStation also announced a batch of PlayStation VR 2 games that will be available at the headset's launch on February 22nd. Resident Evil Village will be there, the VR mode of that. A new version of Fireworks puzzle game Fantavision 2020 or 202X. Is that we just supposed to say 2020? Is how you say that? I don't fucking know
I
what
don't
that
know.
means. So Fantavision, a new Fantavision game. People are very excited about that. It originally came out on PS2, I think. Also, Sword Fighter Altair Breaker, cooperative mystery game The Tale of Onogoro, rhythm game Kazuna AI Touch the Beat, investigation game Dyschronia Chronos Alternate. We talked about that last week, and multiplayer shooter X8. And so, by my count, that brings our launch day game total to the 20 titles that Sony promised us. But there might be a few more still yet to be announced. We'll see. Also, a number of PlayStation studios shared their annual stylized holiday cards this week, and one particular card caught the attention of PlayStation fans, that of Bluepoint Games. Their card features 4 gift boxes, 3 of which were open and reference their previously released PlayStation projects, such as Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls, and they also helped on God of War Ragnarok. The fourth box signified an unannounced project for PlayStation, and people were quick to point out, probably a little bit tinfoil hattish, that it was a plain cardboard box with a red ribbon on top, much like the red exclamation point that pops up over guards' heads on Metal Gear Solid when they are alerted. So
I mean,
that's
that's
interesting.
pretty good. That seems like a Kojima Easter egg,
Yeah. So we'll
but why
see.
would they work on that? That seems like that seems
No.
odd.
Yeah. Who you mean? Blue Point? Why would they?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand, like I mean, it'd be like but, I mean, it'd be like them working on the new Uncharted game to me. It
Hmm.
just seems a little bit out of their lane.
I think so. Here's the connection. I think as to why this is a possibility. Konami, as far as I know, owns the rights to Metal Gear as the publisher, and Konami and PlayStation obviously have a very good relationship. As a matter of fact, Silent Hill 2, the remake of that, is being published by Konami, and it is a PS5 exclusive next year when it launches. So we know that relationship is there. So could it possibly be one of these things where Konami partnered with PlayStation to let Bluepoint remake one of them or several of them? I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I think that's possible. So we'll see. I would freak the fuck out. But you know they're going to do something. We've talked about this before. There's that rumor out there that they're going to start with Metal Gear Solid 3 because
Right.
chronologically it's the first game. But like, God, man,
I mean, I really think if they're gonna make a movie or a TV series, Metal Gear seems like it'd be awesome. Like, why
dude,
not do
Metal.
that?
Well, they are doing a movie with Oscar Isaac. Remember, or they're working on it.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, I feel better.
Hmm.
Good, I don't have
Yeah,
to
it's
play those either. I can just watch the movie. Great.
yeah. This is fucking joke. That's what this is. All right, next nugget. Amazon Games announced this week that they will be publishing Crystal Dynamics' next Tomb Raider game, which was announced back in April, and it's being developed on Unreal Engine 5. One interesting note about that is that Embracer Group obviously owns Crystal Dynamics now, but they're not going to publish the game with any of their 19 million publishing labels. They're going to let Amazon do it. Thought that was weird. Also, Gran Turismo 7 received update 1.27 this week, which added new vehicles such as the Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo, the Alfa Romeo Giulia GTM. I guess I'm saying that right. The Bugatti, how do you say that?
Yeah, I'm just letting you
Chiron.
do this.
Okay, fucking great. 2016, the Chevrolet Corvette C8 Stingray. 2020, and the Toyota Celica GT4 rally car from
Mhm.
1995. And a new Norwegian Scape was added to the game as well. Travis, how did it do?
You do good. I hate these Vision Gran Turismo cars. They're really like they let these manufacturers make what they think future car will be like, and they're always just so fucking out of bounds. Like,
Hmm.
God, it's just annoying. You know, it's the only car that I want out of this whole list is the rally car. I've
Yeah,
always liked that car. And it's
yeah.
like the Castrol paint scheme. Like
Oh, that's
you know
dope.
what it is. Like you know what it is when you see it.
Yeah, that is iconic.
And like I love that Gran Turismo loves cars and they add cars that they like. Like I am all for that, but I just wish they would add more race cars we could use to race with on the daily races. And I'm not they can make a they can make a custom race where we can run the Alpha or this Ferrari fake car or the Stingray, sure. But I mean like actually use actually make cars that were in races. They could make a BMW M3 DTM that they ran in Britain in that league. They could give us stuff like that that we could race with that are legitimately race cars.
Hmm.
I just find it kind of annoying that we get these. You can't do anything with the Bugatti Chiron except have it in your garage, like take pictures with it, and
Hmm.
like that's the whole point. Is I want to race the cars, but you know, I guess in a sense, how else would you drive a Bugatti? Because I'm never going to.
Right. They have a couple of Bugattis on Need for Speed Unbound, and
I've heard they're fast.
yeah, they are fucking fast. Make no mistake. Okay, next nugget. The Witcher 3 received its native PS5 port this week, and it currently sits at a 97 on Metacritic, and it features a number of upgrades for the current gen system, including DualSense support, 3D audio, game help, activity card support, ray tracing, 4K textures and models, a photo mode, and more. I've dabbled in it slightly. Talk about it later. Website Video Games Chronicle reported that Take Two Interactive publishing label Private Division has partnered with developer Bloober Team to bring one of their upcoming survival horror games to market by the end of 2024. Bloober Team has like 1,000 projects in the works, which is amazing for a developer that hasn't really had a hit yet. They've had some and they've had some a dud, but they haven't really had one that hits. And everybody just trusts them to make all these fucking games. So we'll see.
You talking about Xbox?
Yeah, they made the medium for Xbox, and it wasn't very good. So there's that. Also, Rockstar Games once had a deal in place with the ECW to develop ECW Hardcore Revolution, which went on to be made by Acclaim and released in 2000.
I
So,
would much rather have had Rockstar do that.
yeah, 100%. Sony is running a deal right now that allows new or lapsed PlayStation Plus members to get a subscription for $30 off for a limited time. The deal is not available to current members who would like to stack, of course. From Software lead Hidetaka Miyazaki, what a name, clarified this week that the recently announced Armored Core 6 won't be a Soulsborne style game. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel remasters were rated by the ESRB this week for PS4, which means a release is imminent. Hogwarts Legacy's PS4 version was delayed this week, and it will now launch on April 4th. The PS5 version is locked in for February 10th, however, as it recently went gold. And I would argue that we don't need the PS4 version anyway. So why not just cancel it? But what are you going to do? Also, Vulture TV critic Roxana Haddadi has seen at least part of HBO's The Last of Us show, and in a series of now deleted tweets, she said, quote, "It took 5 minutes for The Last of Us to win me over entirely. Ellipsis, extremely strong Blade 2 energy," end quote. Don't know what the fuck the Blade 2 thing means,
Oh,
but
vampires, right?
yeah, that's the vampire thing, but is that supposed to be a good movie? Like, I don't fucking
I
know.
don't know. Doesn't it have the does it have the tax evader in it?
Which tax evader?
Wesley Snipes?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
Oh,
He is Blade. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a big show for HBO and
I
PlayStation.
know,
It's
but
going to
you
be a
gotta
hit.
listen. If she loved the game, she's already romanticized the idea of the TV show. So I'm always a little hesitant with. I don't know. I'm just
That's a good point. That's a good point. We need to know if she's
5
played the
minutes.
game
Like
or not.
yeah, it's like 5 minutes. It's like calm down. 5 minutes is like exposition. If
Yeah,
you could like the first 5 minutes of There Will Be Blood, nobody talks. Like
true.
like it's like
True.
come on.
The difference is when I watch the first 5 minutes of The Last of Us, I'm going to need a clean pair of shorts.
Yeah, just like the first 5 minutes of your marriage.
Touche. Next nugget. Website Insider Gaming reported that the rumored PS5 with the detachable disk drive is now in the hands of developers. And according to their source, it quote unquote works flawlessly. Okay. I mean, I would hope so. Website GamesIndustry.biz reported that 5 of EA Criterion's leaders have departed the studio following the launch of Need for Speed Unbound. Matt Webster, the vice president and general manager of Criterion, has left the studio. He had been with the studio for 23 years and had been at EA since 1990, having worked on the very first FIFA game for EA, which is interesting. Other departures include executive producer Pete Lake, senior technical director Andre Shires, head of studio development Alan McDermott, and head of content Steve Uphill. All had been with EA for a decade or more, and they say they are leaving to, quote, explore new opportunities, end quote. All of these positions have already been filled internally. So very odd to me that they lose all these guys right after this game launched. It's a very good game, but it seems like perhaps sales aren't great because the game's already on sale for like $40 or $45, for instance. And I don't know. I mean, it's reviewing pretty well, I think. And so I don't get it. So my theory is because of the nature of all these people have left, either they've been fired, which I don't think is likely given how the game was received, even positively by fans. What I think is more likely is that these guys are leaving to create their own studio, is the gut feeling I have here. Also, website Push Square reported that NetherRealm Studios boss Ed Boon is teasing their next game for a 2023 launch, whatever it may be. Doesn't sound like it's going to be Mortal Kombat, so we'll see. Tekken 7 has now crossed 10 million units sold as we stare down the barrel of the forthcoming Tekken 8. Better than the barrel of Kurt Cobain's shotgun.
Right.
A co-op heist game Crime Boss Rocket City revealed its first PS5 gameplay this week, Travis, if you are interested out there in podcast land. And it looks like a high-end payday, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I enjoyed it. The part that surprised me the most was I'm watching them sneak through, and I'm imagining Payday 'cause it's what it feels like, and then the
Uh-huh.
first guard they see, they blow his head off. I'm like, Why did we do that?
Yeah, they did. They're
Did we need
blowing
to do
everybody's
that?"
head. Yeah. Also, PlayStation VR 2 pre-orders no longer require an invitation if you've been waiting to get yours. So I don't know if that doesn't seem great for the reception of it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll see. See how quiet or loud they are within the first couple of weeks after launch of the headset. Also, anyone who has played Street Fighter V will unlock Street Fighter 2 Turbo within the upcoming Street Fighter 6. You will need to have linked your Capcom ID to your PS4 to claim it. Upon further review, it has been discovered that Kojima Productions is using Unreal Engine 5's MetaHumans technology to create photorealistic looking humans in Death Stranding 2. This is in addition, of course, to the game being made on Guerrilla's Decima engine. Interestingly, this could be some of the first fruits of the partnership between Epic Games and PlayStation after the latter bought a minority stake in the former earlier this year. It also suggests that there will be more NPCs in Death Stranding 2, as all of the main characters will have been face scanned into the game, more than likely. It already looks like a very pretty game. The awesome looking boxing sim Esports Boxing Club, Travis, has been renamed to Undisputed,
Mhm.
a much better name,
Yep.
and it has been picked up for publishing by PlayOn, formerly known as Coke Media. This is that boxing game that me and you've been kind of drooling over for a while.
For 2 years, yeah,
Yeah.
and the Koch Media I've heard of, so we're making a little progress here.
hmm Also, PS5 versions of survival roguelike game Overland, as well as adventure game Night in the Woods, are now available, with PS4 owners getting free upgrades. Motorbike racing game TT Isle of Man Ridge on the Edge 3 or Ride on the Edge, excuse me, 3 was announced to be releasing in May of 2023 for both PS4 and PS5.
Hey, there's a PlayStation release for you.
A stupid one.
There you go.
Beat Saber got a new rock mixtape pack this week featuring songs from Nirvana, Foo Fighters, The White Stripes, Skinnerd, and more. The Rock's version of Black Adam is now available as a variant in Multiversus. Sounds like he's not going to be playing Black Adam anymore, though, along with everybody else from DC. Chinese action RPG Wolong Fallen Dynasty dropped a new gameplay trailer this week if you're interested. There was also a PlayStation Store leak that revealed that the game is coming in the first quarter, I think, of next year. And there's going to be a DLC in June. So just a FYI there. Coming. Oh, what Travis thinks about it. Jesus Christ. You had that one in the chamber for a while. That's why the microphone's been making all that noise. oh, oh boy. Also, Guilty Gear Strive received crossplay support on PS4 and PS5 this week, as well as a huge balancing update. The Dead Space remake has gone gold ahead of its launch on January 27th. Obscure PS1 underwater adventure game Blue Legend of Water has received a full English translation by a doting fan this week. So,
Golly.
not the full English breakfast, a full English translation. The game originally released in 1998 in Japan and was due to release in Western markets but never made it. Now it has.
They spent 24 years deciphering it.
Yeah, it took them all this time. Also, Peppa Pig World Adventures, a sequel to My Friend Peppa Pig, Travis's favorite, was announced for PS4 and PS5 this week.
Mhm.
It's going to be releasing on March 17th, and hope we don't have to record a podcast that day because you won't be able to make it.
I know. I mean, well, we've already been playing games with pigs anyway, so this is like just an expansion of
This
that.
yeah, it's nothing new for us, huh? Also, Chinese Communist mega corporation Tencent has acquired a stake in Korean developer Shift Up, the studio behind the upcoming PS5 exclusive Stellar Blade. Sony's senior vice president of platform experience, Hideaki Nishino, told Japanese website Famitsu that 2023 will be a quote unquote very important year for the PlayStation 5, but said that he cannot say any more, whatever that means. The Game Awards smashed its record number of viewers from last year, this time amassing a whopping 103 million viewers for this year's show. For comparison, to last year was at 85.
Did anybody
Wild.
want to talk about how weird Jeff Keighley looks?
Yeah,
His fucking
did
legs are
you?
weird.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Did you see his pants and his
What was
legs?
that
Like,
about?
seemed like he was. I don't know if his. I don't know if it's the way the pants fit the man or if he has if he's proportioned awkwardly. I
Oh,
have no
it
idea.
looks like he had a like an exoskeleton under his pants.
Yes, it did. He probably had Kojima's Death Stranding exoskeleton
He
under
did.
his pants.
Yeah, he had Norman Reedus.
Yeah, he had the magical fetus in there somewhere too. All right. Next nugget. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that some players are still stuck on a waiting list for the PlayStation Stars loyalty program more than 2 months after the launch of the free program. Guess how long Sony told them to wait, by the way? 2 months. So
God.
here they are. Sony is recruiting PlayStation gamers to act as support agents for, or after sunsetting its Ask PlayStation support service. God, I can't talk. The Japanese hardware maker has teamed up with Limitless Technology to recruit players who will get a $10 one-off bonus and a $1.20 for every question they successfully resolve. So I actually got this email weeks ago about doing this, and I looked into it, and I was like, something seemed sketchy to me about it, so I just didn't do it. But I mean, I guess if you want to be a support agent and get the $1.20 for that was the problem. I could spend an hour talking to you trying to fix your PS5, and if I solve it, I get a $1.20. I could spend 2 minutes with somebody else who doesn't know how to sign into PlayStation, fix it, get a $1.20. See
Right.
the problem?
Yeah, if you could build a thing that just auto responded to every question, turn it off, turn it back on,
Yeah,
like you would eventually get a couple right, but it would involve no effort. Like if you were doing emails, you could just auto
true,
reply every email with that.
true, true. Next nugget, website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Tekken 7, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Modern Warfare 2, Riders Republic, Minecraft, Marvel's Avengers, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Guilty Gear Strive, Ark Survival Evolved, The Callisto Protocol, and Overwatch 2. Bullet Hell first person shooter Luna Abyss dropped its first gameplay trailer this week. It is coming to PlayStation at some point next year, and it looks strangely like Returnal. Website Gaming Nexus reported that the narrative based detective RPG Game Deck is coming to PS5 sometime in early 2023. Looks very cool. Kid friendly open world action game DC's Justice League Cosmic Chaos was announced for PS4 and PS5, and it's launching on March 10th. And it actually looks pretty cool too. It's like a top down open world uh, game. Looks kind of neat. Resolution Games, the developer of tabletop RPG Demio, which is coming to PSVR 2 in February, announced a slew of new projects this week for VR, the most promising of which is a tennis style game called Racket Club, and it is due out sometime in 2023. Website Gamatsu reported that retro inspired fighting game Pocket Bravery will launch for PS4 and PS5 sometime next year, and that looks dope. It looks fucking dope. Roguelite strategy RPG The Last Spell is coming to PS4 and PS5 sometime in the first quarter of 2023, and that looks interesting. That's like a tower defense, turn based roguelite game. It's different. Also, strategy RPG Fairy Fencer F Refrain Chord is coming west in the spring for PS4 and PS5. I know you're excited for that one. Story driven adventure puzzle rhythm game Atone Heart of the Elder Tree will release for PS4 on January 27th. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's Bardock DLC will launch on January 13th alongside the PS5 version of the game. Japanese mystery detective game Process of Elimination will come to North America for PS4 on April 11th, followed by Europe on April the 14th. Publisher Atlas announced that the console ports of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden will release on January 19th. Strategy RPG Redemption Reapers will launch for PS4 sometime in February. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection will launch on or for PS4, on April 14th. Ys 10 Nordics was announced for PS4 and PS5, but it is currently only planned for release in Japan in 2023, I should say. Side-scrolling roguelike Summum Eterna. Summum Eterna. Okay, will launch on PS4 and PS5 by the end of next year. And not to be confused, Eterna Noctis will get a new DLC called Pit of the Damned in early 2023. Wonder Boy Anniversary Collection will launch on PS4 and PS5 on January 26th. Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 is now available for PS4 and PS5 alongside the game's 2.0 update. Psychological survival horror game Holstein was announced for consoles, although specific platforms were not given. It will launch sometime in 2023, and it is said to be inspired by Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and Twin Peaks. Rhythm fighting game hybrid God of Rock will launch on PS4 and PS5 on April 18th.
Kid Rock's dad.
Pirate strategy adventure game Tortuga, A Pirate's Tale, will launch on PS4 and PS5 on January 19th from publisher Calypso
It's
Media.
called Turtle: A Pirate's Tale.
It is.
What's that mean?
Tortuga. And finally, Phobia. St. Dinfa hotel developer Pulsatrix Studios announced Project Ada, a new sci fi survival horror game being developed on Unreal Engine 5. And that is all for the news this week. I'll kick it over to Travis now for this week's new games. And got a pretty long list here, so take it away.
The 12th, we had Car Mechanic Simulator VR, which will bust your knuckles when you drop your wrench down by the head gasket. We also have Cario 3 Crazy Chicken Shooter, which sounds awesome, and Wavetail. On the 13th, we have Collab Ball, Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7, Gris, Neon White, Night in the Woods, Operation Wolf Returns, First Mission, Overland, Tilting Tiles Ultimate Tilt Remix. On the 14th, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition, Raptor Boyfriend, A High School Romance, which is a Jurassic Park twist on Twilight. The 15th, we have Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 Blacktail, Box Align, Boxer, Cassiodora, Garden City, Grime, Kawaii Slime Arena, Mahjong, hey,
There
River
you go.
City Girls 2,
I love Mahjong.
Tetraminos, and on the 16th, we have Beholder 3, Crime Secrets Christmas Lily, Elves Jigsaw Collection, Hero Ish, Ludo Double XL, Memory, Panda Punch, and Quantum Storm.
It's a lot of games coming out this week. I'm actually looking one up right now. No online play optional. Okay. I'm curious. I'm very curious about this. Okay, so let's see here. What do we got going on? The Witcher 3, probably the biggest one, no doubt, this week. What else here? Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7, that's a big one as well. Neon White, that's a good game. It's been on Switch and PC. We've talked about that last week. It's like in the high 80s on Metacritic. It's like a first person fast paced shooter. What else here? Greece is that kind of like art house indie game that's supposed to be very good. It's on PS4 or PS5 now, I should say. It's $17, I think. And River City Girls is like a Streets of Rage type game. It's a sequel to obviously the first one. It's supposed to be pretty good. And I just looked up that hero-ish game, and I'm kind of intrigued by it. It's like a deck building, side scrolling, I don't know, adventure game. Looks kind of neat. It's $20. Take a look at that. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So things are really going to slow down here the next couple weeks as we get through the end of the year. Be very little coming out. And so yeah, that's all for the new games. And we'll begin to wrap the show up now, like we always do, by discussing what we have been playing and anything that we're looking forward to in the week ahead. So, what do you got? What's on your mind?
I played Call of Duty with Jacob, and interestingly enough, I hadn't turned my
Oh
PlayStation on
yeah,
in 20 days when we played. So
Jesus
I
Christ!
was actually not rusty. I expected to be rusty, and I was not. So we we immediately were just destroying people. I don't know what happened.
Certainly
So
were.
I only had like one game where I was 500. The rest of them I was positive. I was using all kinds of different guns. I was using the variant of the AK. I used the Icarus, the M4, the SBR. I was using everything. I used the whatever the AUG is called now. I used that. It wasn't bad at all. I even put it on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had a double XP weapon token, so I put that on a double primary loadout I had with the sniper rifle, and I would just switch back and forth. So that was nice.
Nice.
I've seen some clips that have been popping up, like YouTube shorts of people putting the drill charge. Like people will be camping and they'll throw the drill charge onto their ass, and it's just hilarious because it's on their butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we killed that. Anyway, I want to play Shipment since that's on there this week.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Then we played Police Simulator, which I bought. So I texted you and said, do you wanna go on patrol or do you wanna play Need for Speed?" And I was hoping you would say go on patrol. And so
Yes. Oh,
you
there's no
said go on
doubt.
patrol. I was like, "Absolutely." So downloaded that, made my character. I picked a woman. You were a man, so I felt like I needed to be a woman, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, equality and all that.
Equality and all that, so
Equity, I should say.
equity. So oh yeah, it's awesome. It's the jank is the jank I love. It's similar to Far Cry. Like, we were putting down road flares and for a traffic accident, and I turned around and this guy just standing on the hood of a car. Don't know why. Don't know why he was doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh huh.
then we had another car that just tried to turn into one of the. He was trying to turn left. There's an accident there with flares out, and I guess the flares had went out, but I hadn't put cones out, so he tried to turn. So I had to like direct him out of the way, like a traffic, like a airline pilot.
Uh
It
huh.
was great. Chased a guy with headphones and tased him. All of it's funny.
This is
All of it is
great,
funny. Like just you know what I mean. You just
dude. You tasing the guy was hilarious. I don't. I still don't know why he took off running. Oh, what? Yeah, he had robbed
yeah.
somebody, right?
I was just wandering around the vicinity looking for a guy in headphones, and then I just saw some dude running. I said, "Well, obviously it's him."
That's hilarious.
It was great. And then like I was trying to put him in the back of the car, and the game glitched. So the only way I could walk was to walk backward. I couldn't move any other direction.
No
So I had to walk
way.
backward all the way to the car, and on my screen, like everything was super elongated. And then when I put him in the car, he was fine. It was super weird. I don't know what it was about. But
That's
yeah, it was
wild.
great. You crashed the car and it was smoldering the entire call out.
I did.
One of the paramedics left a body on the ground. I mean,
Yes,
it was just
forever.
everything about it is what you want it to be.
Yes. It's wonderful. It's everything that I want it to be. Supposedly there is a, hot fix out for it today, patch. So the 8.0 patch, I think may have broken the game worse for some people. I don't know. So they've done some type of other patch today. We'll see if that did anything. Because I think we're about to test it out here in a little while. Let's see what else. Yeah, simulator or police simulator, I should say. I forgot Call of Duty totally that we played that. Yeah, we were just dicking on people over the weekend, and after both of you guys were worried, like, "Oh, I haven't played in forever," and now we're going like 30 and 10 and shit. Also played some Battlefield last night. I stayed up till like 2 in the morning playing Battlefield.
Jesus.
I wanted to play. I just needed to play. So finally used the railgun, which I don't know how I feel about, and like the handheld one, not the tank, the railgun rifle. Not sure how I feel about it yet. I got to use it some more. But I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself on there as always. So added a few more hours to my tally for my most played game this year. The second to last thing I played was Sky Children of Light, which is a free to play MMO from the people that made Journey, one of the really acclaimed indie games from PS4. I think it was actually on PS3 as well. I gotta say, man, it is wonderful. It really caught me off guard, and it's a lot better than I thought it would be. I was really just tried it just to see what it was because it was free to play, and based on who made the game, I was morbidly curious about it, and I ended up getting sucked in a little bit. So it's very cool game. There's not a lot out there like it, or if anything at all. So definitely worth trying out. Like I said, it's free, so there's no commitment. If you don't like it, just delete it. The last thing I mentioned it earlier, but I played a little bit of The Witcher 3 on PS5. I'm really just at the very beginning. Still, I haven't even completed maybe the first quest. I can't decide if I want to play in performance mode or in ray tracing mode. It just really depends on, I guess, what I'm going to be able to handle in terms of the low frame rate. But I can tell it looks better. I think obviously in ray tracing, but that other times I've switched back and forth a couple times. I've gone to performance, and then there's sometimes I go to performance. I'm like, wow, this looks better actually. So I can't really make up my mind there, but I really, really need to go back to God of War Ragnarok and finish that while I have hopefully some time over the holidays, and because I don't really want to leave that hanging out there as we get into just metric shit ton of games that are coming out in 2023, including VR at the very beginning and all those games. So I really need to get Ragnarok done. So I'll probably try to focus on that here in the next couple of weeks. But tonight we're going to play some Police Simulator. Hopefully, record a little footage, maybe record one of our shifts and see what
A little body
happens.
cam,
And like I told you,
little
huh?
body cam.
A little body, yeah. It's our version of body cam. And like I told you, allegedly they've increased the frequency of the calls, which I don't know why they thought it needed it. Because me and you were doing the other night, and we got to a point where I had to decline like every one of them because it's just like boom, boom, boom. It's like robbery, accident, this, that. I'm like, oh my god, we're still arresting these assholes. So anyway, but yeah, so that's it for Travis. That's it for me. That's it for the show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to get a new episode delivered to you every Monday on your podcast service or YouTube. And also, if you can leave us a rating or review, so stars, hearts, thumbs up, that would all be very appreciated. Leave us a like or comment on the YouTube. That helps us out as well. Written reviews are wonderful also on your podcast service. But most importantly, if you could share us with a friend or a loved one who you think might enjoy the show, we would very much appreciate that and be very obliged. And yeah, don't forget to also find us on social media, Twitter at the DualSense Pod. We're also on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook as well. We would love to hear from you. You can also check out our blog, which is the dualsensepodcast.wordpress.com, and to get the shows there every week as well. So we'll get out of here. Thank you for listening. Take care. Have a great week. And yeah, have a great Christmas coming up here soon. Speaking of Christmas, Travis, I haven't got to tell you this yet, but I guess we could talk about that just briefly here. So I've lined up an episode with Ryan from Australia, Mr. Ryan Betson from the For the Players podcast in Australia. And he's going to join the show on Wednesday night, I think we're going to record. So we'll have an episode with him lined up for the day after Christmas, that Monday, so that you and I don't have to record over the holidays. I assume you work on Wednesday, the 19th, or the 21st, I should say.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens with the weather.
Oh, you mean like with it being cold and shit?
It's supposed to snow apparently.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Okay, well, if you don't work, you can join us. If you do work, then fuck off. And then the other thing, so this will be the last. What I'm trying to say is this is the last proper episode for 2022. So we'll have the episode with Ryan the day after Christmas, and then going live that day, I should say, the following Monday, or yes, the following Monday. So right after New Year's, it's not our episode, but I am joining the Friday night Gamecast podcast to do like an interview style episode with Nick from that show. I'm going to talk about our show with him, and then also we're going to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, sort of a little deep dive on that. So right in my wheelhouse, of course. So I'm going to share that on hopefully that day or around that time that week as well. So Travis and I are gonna take a little hiatus, so to speak, from podcast for a couple weeks over the holidays, and then we'll be back in full swing after that. So still going to have some things coming your way, just not our typical news episodes, but things calm down anyway. So it should be fine. Anyway, we'll get out of here. Take care. Have a great week. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you in 2023.